Okay, let's get into this. Core strength. We all kind of know it's important, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what if I told you maybe one of the best takes on it comes from, well, a retired racehorse?
Yeah, it sounds a bit unusual, I know.
Right. Stay with me here.
But, when you really break it down, the basic ideas of how bodies move, how they stabilize, they often apply across different species.
Yeah, the fundamentals are pretty consistent.
Exactly. Basic biomechanics.
So we stumbled upon this really exclusive interview. It's with a former Arabian racehorse named Gandour.
Right.
And it was done by an equine journalist, Farid. And honestly, the way this horse talks about his noyau de tout, his core, it's actually
It
fascinating.
gives you a different perspective.
Totally. So this deep dive, it isn't just some like quirky look at horse anatomy.
Oh, not at all.
It's really about understanding how crucial our own abdominal muscles are, for posture, moving efficiently, everything.
And the interview covers quite a bit, right? Training, muscles, recovery.
Yeah, training principles, different muscle fiber types, how vital rest is, even nutrition, all sort of sparked by Gandour's own experience.
So the idea here really is to dig into what the core actually is.
Yeah.
Not just, isolated muscles you work at the gym.
Right.
But like an integrated central hub for stability and movement.
Not a powerhouse.
Exactly. And by looking at it from Gandour's angle, maybe we find some new ways to think about our own bodies, those little aha moments.
Yeah, hopefully.
And this interview, it's unique. A viewpoint from a retired athlete who happens to have 4 legs.
Gandour gets straight to the point, really emphasizes how key those abs are for horses. He calls it, like you said, the noyau de tout.
The core of everything.
Yeah, and he explains if a horse's core is weak, well, things go wrong.
They're compensating, right?
Exactly. Overworking their neck muscles, the back starts to sag or hollow out.
And they lose that drive from the hindquarters.
Which sounds, well, pretty similar to human issues, doesn't it?
It really does. Think about someone with, poor posture.
Yeah.
Often they're tensing their back muscles, trying to hold themselves up because the deep core isn't doing its job.
Right, because the foundation isn't strong.
And just like Gandour described for horses, that can lead to neck stiffness, definitely back pain, and just inefficient movement patterns.
And Gandour nails it with this simple line, c'est le ventre qui soutient le dos, pas l'inverse.
The belly supports the back, not the other way around.
It's such a fundamental idea, but maybe one we don't always focus on.
It really makes you think about how we approach core training. We often target the back, right?
Yeah, back extensions and things.
But maybe we overlook that primary stabilizing role of the abs, the front and sides. Gandour's point really brings that home.
He even describes feeling his core engaged during different exercises, like when he's bending his body incurvation, they call it.
Yeah, bending.
Or doing these well-executed square movements, or even just shifting between gaits like a trot. He feels it working.
And what's really interesting is how he relates it to Pilates.
Right, that was surprising.
He mentions Caroline Centane and the double leg stretch. Now, obviously, a horse isn't doing Pilates on a mat.
No. Can't quite picture that.
But the principle, the idea behind it, is the same.
Which is?
Activating those deep core muscles to link the front and back.
Okay.
Stabilizing the pelvis, allowing for smoother movement, and really importantly, protecting the spine.
It's amazing how these different worlds, riding and Pilates, connect on that fundamental level.
Both understand how the core powers and protects.
So what exercises does Gandour actually recommend? What does he find works best for his core?
Well, according to Farid's interview, Gandour likes transitions between walk and trot, specifically in that low and round posture.
Okay, kind of collected.
Yeah, engaging the core to maintain that shape. He also mentions good circles, flexions of the neck and hips, and this exercise called recul or backing up.
Backing up, how does that work, the core?
He calls it an inverted push-up for horses. It really engages the iliopsoas.
Iliopsoas, that's that deep hip flexor, right? Connects the leg to the spine.
Exactly, crucial for stability and movement.
Wow. And then he talks about training on different ground. That was interesting too.
Yeah, varied terrain. He finds going uphill builds power, which makes sense.
Sure.
But it's going downhill where those deep abs really have to fire to control everything, maintain stability.
Control and posture.
He literally compares it to pure Pilates, that kind of controlled engagement.
That really highlights functional strength, doesn't it? Strength you can use in real situations.
Absolutely. It's not just about lifting weights in a gym. It's training the body to stabilize and react dynamically.
Constantly adjusting on hills. that naturally works those deep stabilizers.
Precisely.
Now, Gandour also gets into muscle fibers. He's an Arabian, so he
Right.
knows about endurance.
Right. He explains he mainly has type I fibers, slow twitch.
Good for long, steady efforts, like racing.
Exactly. Yeah. And he contrasts that with a show jumping horse, as CSO. They tend to have more type 2 fibers. Fast twitch.
For short, explosive bursts of power, like jumping fences.
Two very different jobs,
Yeah.
needing different muscle makeups.
But here's the kicker. Gandour says no matter what type you are, endurance or explosive, those abdominal muscles are still central, absolutely key.
That's a really powerful point, isn't it?
Yeah. It shows how universal core strength is, even when the main demands are totally different.
It makes you reconsider how we sometimes train just for our specific sport or activity.
Right.
Gandour reminds us that the core is this essential foundation, this link, that supports pretty much any physical effort. Long hike, quick sprint, doesn't matter.
So true. Okay, let's shift to injury prevention. Gandour has strong opinions here, especially about rest.
Oh yeah, he puts it very clearly.
Mhm.
You don't build muscle while working, you build it while recovering.
Such a simple concept, but so vital.
And one we often ignore when we're eager to, push harder.
Totally.
Exercise creates those micro tears in the muscle fibers.
Yeah.
That's normal, but it's the rest period when the body repairs them, rebuilds them stronger if you don't rest enough.
You just break them down further.
Exactly. You hinder progress, or worse, risk injury.
He even asks, kind of cheekily, say, "Pane shave you?" No, it's the same for you guys, right?
And of course it is. We absolutely need that recovery time for our bodies to adapt and get stronger.
Then he moves on to fuel to nutrition. Good quality protein is his focus for muscle building.
Makes sense. And he mentions two specific things they look at for horses. MADC.
Yeah, basically digestible protein, how much the horse can actually use.
Okay, and lysine.
Right, an essential amino acid, a key building block the body can't make itself.
So where does he recommend getting this stuff?
He points to alfalfa hay or pellets as a good source of both. Also good sports feeds, the ones that actually list the lysine content, and even supplements like one called Myostem Mass, which is packed with essential amino acids.
But he adds a caveat, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he's very clear. Great nutrition is fantastic, but it won't work miracles on its own.
You still need enough water, enough rest, and smart training.
It's the whole package, everything working together.
A holistic approach, really.
He also touches on something maybe less obvious when we think strength. Calmness. Relaxation.
Right. He says, un cheval contracté ne peut pas bien se contracter,
A tense horse can't contract its muscles effectively.
which makes total sense. Tension restricts movement, hampers blood flow.
Yeah, it impedes everything.
So he stresses a gradual approach to exercise, building in relaxation, breaks, active recovery.
Like walking or light trotting after harder work.
Exactly. To help clear out waste products, prevent that buildup of fatigue, avoid getting blocked up, basically.
So wrapping this all up, what's the big message from Gandour? The main takeaway for riders, Pilates folks, anyone interested in real strength?
I think his core message, forgive the pun again, is about coherence.
Coherence.
Yeah. True strength isn't about being rigid or stiff. It's about responsiveness, fluidity, mobility, all built on that strong, stable center. He sums it up perfectly. Tout commence dans le centre.
Everything starts in the core.
For horses, for humans, it's fundamental.
So the key takeaway really is Gandour, our unexpected equine guide here, he's given us this powerful reminder. The core truly is the foundation for stability, for movement, for just general well-being.
And the parallels between what keeps an athlete like him strong and what applies to us, they're surprisingly direct.
Yeah, really profound.
Which leads to a good question for you, the listener, to maybe mull over.
Okay.
Thinking about Gandour's insights, how might focusing more on your own center, your core, how might that change things?
Like how you move day to day, your posture, even how you approach exercise.
Exactly. Maybe explore what that idea of strength with fluidity could actually feel like in your own body.
That's a great thought to end on. Thanks so much for taking this deep dive with us, exploring the rather unexpected wisdom of a retired racehorse.
Hope Gandour gave you some interesting things to think about.
We really hope his insights provided some valuable and definitely intriguing food for thought.